everyone, it's Michelle from Scrap Secrets, and welcome to my Sunday submission for Till Death Do Us Craft. This is also part of my Halloween card series for 2020. It's card number 5, and we're going to be using the September My Monthly Hero Arts Kit to create this card. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the stamp set that we're going to be working with. This is what comes in the My Monthly Hero Kit. This is called a Heroscape, and it's a layering stamp, which I absolutely love. There's also a 3x4 stamp set in there that has sentiments in it, as well as coordinating dies. Now the stamps are a little bit wider than the piece of cardstock that I have. I cut the piece of white cardstock down to 4 by 5 1/4, and I am choosing to do from the bottom up. I watched a bunch of videos on how to use these stamps because I wasn't sure exactly how to layer them, and a lot of people started with the cornstalk. I decided that I was going to stamp the pumpkin patch first. So first stamp we're going to use is the one that's going to stamp the grass. And we're going to be inking that image up with MFT's Dill Pickle ink. It's a real nice grass green ink. I'm going to stamp it actually a couple times because it's brand new. Now, one of the things that I found as I was using these stamps was that these were very, very sticky, and it was hard to pick up with my MISTI without moving the paper, even with the magnets on it. So what I found was if you place the stamp on the paper, put the MISTI door down very gently over top of it, and just barely touch the stamp and pick it up, it works better and your paper doesn't move. So you'll see that in a couple minutes. Now I'm using the Hero Arts Moss ink that comes with the kit. I believe there are 4 or 5 cubes, like the mini cubes that come with this kit. And the one that I used for the grass was moss. We're going to use a couple of them. And it's just a little bit darker, so I wanted the images in the back, like the grass in the back, to have a little bit more depth to them, because objects that are further away are going to appear darker. Just sprayed some water from my Tim Holtz water distress sprayer and cleaned it off with my microfiber cloth, and these stamp sets are very easy to clean off. They didn't really stain either. The next layer that we're going to do is choose the pumpkin layer, the solid pumpkin layer, the one that's at the top, and we are going to ink that up with a couple different colors of ink. The first one that I used was MFT's Orange Fizz, and this is going to be the center of the pumpkins. I am going to ink it up a second time with, I believe it's orange soda from Hero Arts. Let me just see. I wrote the colors down, and I think I remembered where they were. And you can see here, that's where my paper shifted, and you'll see my hair gets in the way. So sorry about that, my hair and my head. I was actually going to do a haul video today because I was wearing makeup and I was dressed up. Went for my niece's 7th birthday, and it was raining outside when we actually took a walk to look at a scary house. It was raining outside, and my hair got all frizzy, and so it didn't look good. So I'll do that one probably tomorrow. Anyway, this is the MFT Orange Fizz, and we are just going to ink up the pumpkins and do the lightest layer. And I believe I stamped this a couple times because some of the pumpkins, the ones in the back on the top left, for some reason, even though they were inked up, they weren't stamping. And then there you go, this is Hero Arts Orange Soda. This is not part of the kit. This is a stamp set, or a ink pad that I just had in my stash. So we're going to ink up all the images and stamp them down again. And this is a great part about having the MISTI. It's probably necessary for these Heroscapes because you usually have to stamp them a couple times, and it makes it so easy to line up. So whether it's a MISTI or a Stamp Perfect or the Tim Holtz stamping platform, one of those are very beneficial in doing these layering stamp sets. So there you go again. I am using the orange soda at the top and then the orange fizz at the bottom to just make sure all of the pumpkins get stamped in. So do that layer, and then I think this is it, and just kind of try to get those top left pumpkins. For some reason, they just did not want to stamp. I don't know what their problem was, but in the end, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. So I'm cleaning off that stamp, and then we are going to use the next layer, which I believe is the one that has the detail for the pumpkins. So lining this one up was a little bit more difficult because it's not the full entire pumpkin. it's actually just parts of it, and you'll see I had a little bit of difficulty lining them up. And if you can hear any background noise, that's Fred. He is sitting right next to the iPad and he's purring like crazy. So he's doing much better. I'm enjoying spending some time with him. So he's hanging out with me while I do this voiceover. So again, I apologize for my head and didn't realize that I got that much in the way. But you really do have to get up over top of these stamps to line them up. And now we're going to be using MFT's Safety Orange to do the, I believe that was it, the Safety Orange, to stamp the layers. I think that was it. There's Orange Fizz, Safety Orange, Tangy Orange, and Orange Soda. Those were the ones that I used, and I just don't remember. I'm sorry, I apologize. I think it was Tangy Orange that I actually used for this one, because it was more of a, it's like more of an orangey red. So just to give a little bit of highlights on the pumpkins, these would be where the, it almost looks like seams in the pumpkins. That's where it would be. And then we are going to ink up this last layer, and this is the leaf layer. And I used the Cup of Joe that came with the Hero Arts kit to do the whole thing. And then I also go, and which is Hero Arts, and then I also come in with the MFT chocolate brown and put a little bit of that on the top, because again, I want to make sure that the top is a little bit darker, because that would be the further away part of the scene. And there we go. Inking it up with the Cup of Joe, and then bringing in a little bit of that chocolate brown. So, and that's, the chocolate brown is from MFT. So this just kind of puts the leaf in there, and it looks, I thought that it was going to make it all brown, and I got a little bit nervous, but it doesn't. It just adds a little bit of shading to it, and it looks amazing. I was so impressed with these Heroscapes. I actually bought a couple of them, so I will be using them in some upcoming videos. I have another one, which I probably will do for next week's scene, or next week's card, because I got a graveyard one, which I cannot wait to do. So that'll probably be next week's. Okay, so now I am inking up, this is like the back of the corn. And I was trying to line it up to right where the, like horizon line would be, I guess you want to call it. And I am using Lemon Drop, which is a Hero Arts cube ink. And I didn't get, on the right hand side, I didn't get all of it. But it doesn't really matter, because actually we're going to be stamping the layer of corn over top of that. And it just doesn't matter. And I apologize, yes, I did use Tangy Orange before. The Safety Orange is something completely different. It's actually almost like a brown. The Safety Orange is what I used for the corn. So there you go. I tried to move it down a little bit, and it still didn't work. So then I kind of drugged the ink pad across it. Again, it didn't work, but it's not a big deal. It really doesn't matter if you don't line these up absolutely perfectly. I didn't, and the scene still came out really, really fantastic, at least from my point of view. You guys let me know. Did it come out really good? Okay, so here is the row of the corn stalks. Again, apologize for my head, just trying to get over top of the scene to make sure that I was overlapping it a little bit. And I think that's the key to it, is making the stamp actually overlap just a teeny tiny bit. So I'm using that Safety Orange on the corn stalk layer. So it's almost like a brownish orange. If you can see it there, it's definitely, I feel like it's more brown. Even though it says it's orange, it's definitely more brown. So we're going to stamp those a couple of times, and then you can see the amazing detail that you get from these scenes. I am, like I said, I am so excited to do more of the scenes. I got a beach scene at the Heroscapes, that Hero Arts beach hero scenes, and then also the graveyard scene. So now I am taking the image from one of the images from that Heroscapes stamp set, which is a scarecrow, and I'm going to ink it up in that same Safety Orange again and stamp it down, and to make him look like he's in the cornfields. So it came out pretty good the first time, but I'm going to stamp it down a second time, again, because I have my Misty, and why not? To get a little bit of a deeper color, and you can really see the true color there, because behind the corn stalks is that Lemon Drop ink. So now I am taking the little crow and putting him on the scarecrow, and then just going to stamp some of the crows flying in the sky, and I'm going to be using some Catherine Pooler Midnight ink. Now, if you want to keep the true color of these inks, you can heat the images to dry the inks in between layers. Because it took me so long to layer them up, I think that most of my inks were pretty dry by the time I stamped the next layer on top of it. But if you want to keep real true colors and not have them mix, dry them in between. So that's a really good tip that I got from Jennifer McGuire when you are layering inked images. So now we're gonna just take the is it called a murder? Isn't that what a flock of crows are called, a murder? So if that's what they're called, we're going to move the murders over and just make another row of them. As I thought it didn't really look complete with just those one random set there, so I thought we'd add a little bit more. And it almost looks like they're flying off the page. So we're going to use that same Catherine Pooler Midnight ink to stamp them up, and they do a pretty good job of stamping. They are tiny images. We're going to take that off, and then I feel like this scene is almost complete, but that white background was really bothering me. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. So I knew I needed a sentiment, so I went over to the sentiment set that comes with the kit, which it's a 3x4 sentiment set, and I chose, what the heck did I choose? Fall Greetings, I think. And then we're going to use that Tangy Orange, the darkest orange that we used in the pumpkins, that last layer. I'm going to ink it up in that. Now I took my creative corners, and just because it's easy to get a straight line, and then just line the stamp up with that, because it wasn't lining up properly before that. I didn't think it looked good. So now I'm going to, again, ink it up with that Tangy Orange, just to give it some color. And then after that was done, I still was looking at it, and I said, the sky is really bothering me because the sky should be blue. So I didn't really want to color it in with Distress Oxides or Distress ink, but it is what I ended up doing because I thought that, I didn't want to color over it. So I gave the ink a little bit of time to dry. Now I could have used my heat tool and heat everything up because I didn't want the Distress Oxide to move any of the ink. If the ink is still wet, that Distress Oxide will move that color. So I waited for it to dry, and then I used some Tumble Glass, which is a super light. I thought I was going to use some Tumble Glass. I actually used whatever color of Distress Oxide was on my rabbit hole blending brush, and I believe it probably was like a salty ocean or something like that. So I don't even think I opened my Distress Oxide in tumbled glass. It was just whatever was left on there. That's how much ink that holds. So that's it. That was the card. That's that's pretty much everything with the card. Oh, I'm sorry. I took a black pen and went in with, filled in the eyes, the nose, and the mouth of the scarecrow. I probably should have done it with a more narrow pen, but that's what I had sitting on my desk. And now we are going to get ready to do the mats. This mat comes from a Die Cuts with a View paper pack that I've had forever, and I believe it's called the Pumpkin Patch. I believe they are 4.5 by 6.5 sheets of cardstock. They're matting, so they actually can mat pictures. So I cut it down to 1/8 of an inch larger than that white piece, and 1/8 of an inch smaller than the 4.25 by 5.5 card base that I had, and was just doing very basic colors. Just used a orange for the mat, and then put it down onto a green card base, which is not normal. I don't usually use like colored card bases, but that's the card for the day. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this, and hope that you guys are enjoying this whole entire series. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again real soon for another video. Bye!